Welcome to 1 Minute Wisdom, the space where deep questions lead us closer to truth. Today's question is deceptively simple. Why are we afraid of silence? Not just outer silence, but inner silence, the kind that stretches wide and feels too quiet to bear. Think about it. We fill every moment with sound, music, notifications, podcasts. Even when we're alone, we let something speak. What are we really trying to drown out? This episode is not just about the absence of noise, but the presence of something deeper. Let's listen. We live in the noisiest time in human history, not just loud cities or busy roads, but informational noise, mental clutter, opinions, algorithms, endless input. We scroll endlessly. We open apps without thinking. We fill silence before it even begins. We treat silence like a void, something awkward, something boring, something that needs fixing. But silence isn't emptiness. It's space, space to feel, to remember, to confront, to simply exist without filters. And that's why it scares us. Because in silence, we hear ourselves. And sometimes we don't like what we hear. When there's no input, the output reveals itself. The inner dialogue, the questions, the regrets, the unspoken, and in that moment, silence becomes a mirror, and not everyone is ready to look. But still, it waits for us. Silence is always there, waiting to be honored, waiting to be heard. Why do we reach for our phones the moment we're alone? Why do we turn on background noise while brushing our teeth? It's not just habit, it's fear. Fear of stillness. Fear of being alone with unfiltered thought. Fear of discomfort we haven't named yet. Silence is not the absence of sound. It's the presence of self. And for many of us, the self feels loud, chaotic, unsettled. So we cover it, scroll past it, talk over it, distract it, schedule it away. We fear silence not because it's empty, but because it's full. Full of the things we've postponed, full of the emotions we've pushed down, full of our most unguarded truths. But here's the truth. You can't heal what you refuse to hear. You can't grow where you're not willing to be still. Silence is the doorway, not the end, not the punishment, but the invitation. But silence, when welcomed, becomes a teacher. It teaches us patience, presence, perspective. In silence, we begin to notice the way our breath moves, the tension we hold in our jaw, the way our thoughts echo when there's no noise to distract them. We begin to notice that the world doesn't fall apart without our constant input. We start to see that not every moment needs filling. We reconnect with rhythm, not the rhythm of notifications and alerts, but the rhythm of breath, of emotion, of life. The space between thoughts, the echo after words, the beauty in restraint. Some truths don't need to be spoken, they just need to be felt. Silence allows us to listen inward, not with our ears, but with our awareness. We discover things that were always there, waiting to be acknowledged. And sometimes what we discover isn't answers, but better questions. Questions like, what do I actually believe? What have I been avoiding? What does my body need right now? Silence gives you the chance to reset. Not just emotionally, but energetically. It reintroduces you to your inner compass. And that compass? It doesn't shout. It gently points. Learning to listen to that is the beginning of returning home to yourself. In the absence of noise, we rediscover voice. Not the curated voice we use online. Not the reactive voice shaped by stress, but the deeper voice, the one that whispers before we drown it out. What does it say? Maybe it reminds you who you were before the world told you who to be. Maybe it names the grief you've postponed. Maybe it tells you to slow down. It doesn't shout. It doesn't demand. It gently waits. And when you're finally quiet enough, it speaks. And what it says might not be easy, but it will always be honest. In stillness, the mask comes off. In stillness, we meet the parts of ourselves we've been ignoring, not to judge them, but to understand them. You may hear the voice of your inner child, or of an old fear still echoing. You may feel sadness with no clear reason, or peace that surprises you. The invitation is to let it all be there. No need to label, no need to fix, just witness. Because presence is powerful, and silence holds it all. So where do we begin? After we've met the voice beneath the noise, after we've heard the part of ourselves that rarely speaks. How do we bring that insight into our lives? We begin by honoring it. We create a space, daily, even briefly, where silence is not an interruption but a return. You don't need an hour. You don't need a retreat. 1 minute. Just one. Turn everything off. Sit. Breathe. Not to accomplish, not to fix, not to produce, but to return. Return to that deeper voice. The one you heard. The one you've always had. Let the discomfort rise. Let the thoughts swirl. Let them pass. Then listen. What shows up? Curiosity? Sadness? Calm? Clarity? An unexpected insight? It's not about achieving peace. It's about keeping your promise to listen. Even when it's uncomfortable. Even when it's quiet. That's how we integrate silence. That's how we build trust with ourselves again. And the more we return to that space, the less afraid of it we become. Maybe silence isn't the thing to fear. Maybe it's the gateway to truth. Because the more we run from silence, the further we run from ourselves. So today, take one sacred minute and don't fill it. Let it be. Let it stretch. Let it say what words can't. You've already met the voice underneath. Now give it space to stay. This was 1 Minute Wisdom. Thank you for listening. Until next time, let silence speak.